All right, guys, let's go ahead and look at some volume profile here together. I was going to do some research for myself for the upcoming week. I thought, why not record it for you? I hope it helps you out to understand the volume profile a little bit better. It is a little bit daunting in the beginning. It can seem a little bit complicated, but as you get more familiar with the volume profile through some study and some helpful videos like this, you'll start to get a sense of where it specifically can help you with your trading. So I'm going to just show you some of the key ways that I use it. I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritty, but just some of the basic ways that it helps me to filter out trades, and you can use it on whatever strategy that you use for your day trading, your swing trading. It pretty much applies to all kinds of trading, whether you're a long-term investor. It doesn't matter. You can use the volume profile for your specific period of time. I'm going to show you on hourly bar charts here for the NASDAQ, and we'll go through some different markets. We'll replay the markets using Sierra charts here, which is a fantastic tool because you can see the volume profile adapting during the day. So unless you have an actual market replay software setup that can show you tick by tick how the volume profile was developing throughout the day, it's not really that useful for day trading to look back at a completed daily volume profile and say, well, I would have done this, I would have done this. Yeah, but you don't know what the volume profile looked like during the day as it was unfolding. That's what the replay software does, and we're going to use this together. I use this constantly to review my trades and continually learn how the volume profile is affecting the different setups that I use using Owings Market Analysis, which you can see on the screen here, and which I'm going to start live streaming for you guys every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. I put on my own trades anyways. I stand here at my standing desk all day and I trade. So I thought, why not share it with you guys? Hopefully it'll help some of you and have a positive impact on your life. So started with that on Friday. The test went well. We're going to continue with it on Monday morning. And we will grow the channel because it's a very different live streaming trading channel than what you find out there now. I'm actually, calling out the trades I'm taking well in advance because I'm very aware of what I'm looking for. So it's not going to be, well, I think maybe, no. It's very specific analysis driven trading. And I think it'll be of, a lot of benefit to you guys. So I'm excited about that. All right, let's get into the volume profile here. Again, this is just my own research that I'm sharing with you. So, make of it what you will and apply it to your own trading. So here you can see the NASDAQ. This is for non-farm payrolls Friday. This was yesterday, January 5th, 2024. Now, just basically, and I'm not going to get into all the higher time period charts and the higher time period volume profiles. We're just going to keep it simple and look at the daily, okay? So you can see heading into the New York session, I use the entire 24-hour volume profile. Some people only use the New York session regular hours volume profile from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. I use the entire session because I want to see where all the volume's trading. Sometimes there's really important news that gets released during London, and I want to see how that impacts the volume profile. So for me, I like to chart the entire Globex 23-hour trading session for the volume profile. So that's number one. That's important, and that's a personal preference. You can chart it however you want to chart it. So what you'll see here heading into the New York Open, you can see the time down here in the horizontal axis, and these are hourly bars, right? So this is the 8 o'clock hourly bar that's going to open right at non-farm payrolls, and I'll show you what happens as we play the replay here, how the volume profile adjusts. But what you want to notice, obviously, is you want to notice where is the point of control. So here you can see I've got my point of control here in orange. We can go ahead and just make it white so you can really see where it is. It's coming across here. The point of control is the most heavily traded price of the day, right? It's where all the contracts are changing hands between big institutions, and it's the most accepted price of the day. That's why all the trading is happening at that price. And then you get what's called a value area, which is basically 70% of the traded volume around the point of control. I have this marked in green. You can see all that here. This is the value area. That simply means that most of the contracts are being traded within this general area here. And again, the point of control will be somewhere within that value area. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the middle, right? And there are different trading setups that you can use depending on where the point of control is in relation to the value area, high or low. And there's lots of other nuances. This, again, is just going to be an introductory video on volume profile. I'll get into more advanced concepts, as I have more time. And you'll see me use everything I know about volume profile in the live day trading room that I'm going to be streaming here at 8 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. So that's where you'll really get the advanced class. If you want to replay those videos, even if you can't make the live streaming because you're working, you can go in there and you'll get a ton of information. So those are going to be great. This is just the introductory. So you've got the volume profile here, the value area, as I just mentioned, the point of control. And what you want to look for, depending on your setup, is how this is changing throughout the day. That's really important, right? So as an example here, you see how the NASDAQ at this exact moment, right? We've been trending down overnight, right? And now as New York is getting ready to open and we're heading into NFP, non-farm payrolls, the hourly chart is going for a congestion entrance up move. You can see the trend is trying to shift from down to up. And we're just coming back to this point of control here, right? So non-farm payrolls is very volatile. You really shouldn't hold a trade heading into non-farm payroll, a day trade especially, unless you're gambling. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. I don't hold trades into NFP because it's very, very volatile. But you can see here that we came back to the point of control. Let's go ahead and replay the chart here. Okay, so I'm just going to slow that down a little. You can basically see what happened, especially if we go a little bit slower here. Let's go ahead and go 2 minutes back in time. You guys will get to see how this, because this is really important to see how the point of control is shifting, right, as price is moving. And you really want to look for big price movements that maybe don't affect the point of control that much. That's a little bit of a tip that'll help you out. And this is a really good example of that. Let's go ahead and play it again. You can see as NFP comes out here in just a moment. Let's see, what time are we on my charts? That's going to come out here on the replay here in just a few seconds. Go ahead and play it. Okay, so about 20 seconds. Now watch this. We open, we're waiting for the news. Boom. There's your smackdown. I want you to pay close attention here. Do you see how, even though we just made, we went from a high of 16,420. Right now we're at 16,361. This goes even lower. But notice, even right now at this point in the move, you see how the point of control hasn't shifted? Let's just watch this now. It goes even lower. So you think maybe this is breaking down now, right? Because look, it's really pushing lower. And I want you to notice as it pushes lower, you can see there's no volume coming in down here. None whatsoever, right? In fact, the point of control is staying up here. You have another high volume node here, but let's focus on the point of control for right now. So as this is pushing lower and the point of control is staying here, what does that tell you? Well, it should tell you that there's not a lot of interest in big institutions to transact down at this price, right? So if that's the case, then this is probably going to revert back up to the point of control because there's just not a lot of takers down here, right? You're below the value area low and you're getting a bit of an exhaust, but you want to know, is this trade going to break out to the downside or is it going to reverse back after the news? As we often see after these big news releases, you'll see these, the pump one way, the reversal the other way, and you're wondering if that's going to happen. Keep your eye on the point of control. It's super important. So as we speed this up a little bit here and play it, what you can see is as it's trying to go lower, look at the volume here. There's just not a lot of volume relative to all this volume here, right? So this is just telling us that we're probably going to head back to the point of control because of the way the volume profile is looking in the middle of this post news release price action, right? So and then you can see as we come back up here, you'll see where this hourly bar closes at 9 a.m. And I was wondering where this was going to close when I was watching it live and I filmed it for the first live stream. I didn't trade it, but I was, keeping an eye on stocks because I was interested in trading silver, which I ended up trading and making some money on. But I was very aware of what was going on over here with the stock. So you see here how you start to get some volume coming in down here, right? And as this volume, there's another really key takeaway. As this volume is coming in, what is happening to price? Price is going back up. So what does that tell you? That tells you that that's buying volume, right? If the volume's coming in and price is moving up, that tells you that there's more aggressive buying, pushing price back up. And that's another clue that we're headed back to at least the point of control, which is still here at 16,410. You have to watch this profile as it's developing throughout the day, right? So keep an eye right here. You see how as this is starting to come back toward these lows, pay close attention here. Do you see all this volume here? You can rewind the video and see just a moment ago, this volume was back here. Now it's shooting out. This tells you you're getting a lot of volume transacting in this area. Well, what's happening? You're right at these old lows, right? And as all this volume right here is coming in, price is continuing to push higher, telling you now that we're probably headed back to the upper end of the range at the volume point of control, because price is lifting as all the volume is coming in here toward the lower end of the value area. So that's really, really important. So if you just keep an eye on what's happening in relation to price and volume, right? The horizontal volume of the volume profile, it's going to give you a really good idea of the near-term direction of price. So here, for example, you might look at this and say, well, we're back at resistance. Maybe I want to give a shot at a short up here because I think it's going to drop and head lower. Well, in fact, you can see that all that volume that just came in drove us up. So you really don't want to short against all that volume. And sometimes this is harder to see in real time. You really got to pay attention, especially when you're trading a lot of different markets like I follow during the day. And on Friday, what happened to me is, I'll go ahead and show you silver because it's a great example and I traded it live. You can see it in the live video up on the live tab of the channel. So this was a really good example of the NASDAQ and how the volume profile would have helped you to not only not get sucked into this short down here, but to actually look at the evidence that, hey, you know what, this is probably a good place to buy. And where's your target? Well, at least back to the point of control up here, or the upper end of the current value area, right? So that's a nice move right there on the NASDAQ from 16,350 back up to 16,420. That's 70 points, $20 a point. That's $1,400 per contract there on the NASDAQ futures contract, just by reading the volume profile and how price is reacting to the volume profile. So keep that in mind. Now, I'm just going to finish up this video because we're going to do lots of other videos and I don't want these to be too long. It's Saturday night here. It's cold. I got to get out and have my cigar and relax a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at silver here to finish it off. And what you can see, the volume profile is a little easier to see on silver, right? Because the tick value, NASDAQ is very granular. Silver is not, right? Because NASDAQ has 4 ticks per point, and NASDAQ will move sometimes, 400 or 500 points in a day, right? So it'll move 2,000 ticks in a day. So each one of those little lines of the volume profile is very granular. Silver moves in, half-cent increments. And if you see it moving, 40 cents in a day, right? That's going to be 80 ticks for the whole day. That's why the volume profile looks a little thicker when you look at silver, but they're the same thing, right? On any market you look at. So if we look at silver here, I'm going to show you something really interesting. Let's go ahead and go back to, this particular moment here on silver. A couple of quick things, then I'll leave you guys. Okay, so there was silver on NFP here, right? I'm going to show you the difference. So you see how as NFP came out and silver spiked, right? It's the same situation where the volume profile is staying up here, okay? And then what happened was, this is why, even though I wanted to short silver and I was very biased to the short side on Friday, I didn't take that breakout here because I could see what was going on the volume profile. So what I did is I waited until this bar was ready to close at 9 a.m. Eastern, which is coming up here. And I want you to see how this volume profile is, adjusting as this bar is closing. So you see like all this volume here continues to come in. And as this volume is coming in, what's happening to price? It's lifting, right? Just like the NASDAQ. So you could see that that's buying volume coming in. Now, I didn't buy this because I was waiting to short silver because that's my bias coming into the day based on my higher time period analysis, which you can see in the pre-market video I do every day, giving my thoughts on what I think is going to happen for the upcoming day. You can see here on the hourly chart, which is going to close in about 3 minutes. I'm just looking at my clock here. You can see the clock up here. Actually, I'll move this for you guys. There's 8:59 right now. This will close in 1 minute, right? That's how that works. So when this, you'll see this in the video I did for the live stream. When this closed here, I thought, okay, because I was still bearish on silver, and I thought this could be an instance where we do actually, because you'll see this many times where it comes back up and then it immediately just reverses back down. That does happen. And I thought, okay, that could be happening here, especially because we tagged the extension here and you got a little bit of a flash. There could have been resistance here. So that's why I was interested in shorting. So what I ended up doing, and you see this in the live video, is I ended up shorting an average of 23.26 for 2 contracts, which was right in here, right? And it started to go against me a little back up to this high. Made me a little nervous. I wasn't nuts about it, but I knew we had the protection of the value area high up in here. And I thought, yeah, as long as we don't really get too far through these highs, I think there's still some selling up here. So that's what I was watching for. Some selling came in, drove price back down to my entry, and then started to drop, and we were in a little bit of profit. But then what I noticed is that as soon as we started to get to around the middle of the moving average envelope here with Owings Market Analysis, these green dots, you've also got the true average there, which is these, sort of beige pinkish dots behind there. This is really, really important because this is an important OMA support level, right? And I was obviously aware of this at the time. If this, my short is going to be good and this thing is going to reverse back to the downside, it's obviously, that's one of the first key OMA levels we got to break down and through in order to see some momentum to the downside. So I was keeping a very close eye on that. But in addition to that, I was watching that point of control here for the daily chart right here, right? And, that point of control, it's either going to be support or resistance, right? Because all the institutions transacting at this level, right, they're either buying or selling. So it's going to push price one way or the other. And generally speaking, just a good tip is be very careful trading around the point of control. If you're not experienced with volume profile, just probably avoid trades around the point of control, because that's where you're going to get a lot of contention. You're going to get a lot of back and forth, a tug of war of price, and it's a dangerous place to trade. I was aware of that when I put this trade on, but I'm also, I understand how the volume profile works. I'm using Owings Market Analysis. I'm using multiple time period volume profiles. So I'm not just looking at the daily, but just for those of you starting out, it's just something to keep in mind. Don't transact around the point of control if you can help it, if you're not really sure what's going on. It's a dangerous place to trade. All right, so what I saw at this point was on my other chart I could see, which I'm not going to bring over right now, but you can just take my word for it, is that the weekly volume point of control, I'll just put that in white, it was coming across right here, right? So we had the weekly volume point of control, the most heavily traded price of the week for silver so far, almost at the end of the week, was right here, right with this daily, right? So this was a key level. Now I was short because I thought there was a chance that if we broke this, we would be off to the races like this. And believe me, that could have happened. You never know, right? And I knew that that level was either going to hold or break hard. And so as I was short, using the volume profile information and knowing exactly where we were in combination with Owings Market Analysis, I could see price was pushing down into that 23, 16, 17 level several times. And you could just see it there was something there absorbing all the selling. And I thought, you know what? I do not want to be short against whatever's absorbing this selling. Sure, the absorption might stop and we might break through. But right now, what I'm seeing is that the weekly point of control and the daily point of control are telling me that indeed we don't want to slam down and through these lows. We probably want to go and retest these highs up here. And that's exactly what ended up happening. In fact, we ended up going much higher for the day before we ultimately reversed and headed back down. But it was a really good example of how you can use the volume profile, especially the multiple time period volume profile, with whatever technical analysis setup that you use. I use Owings market analysis, and you use all these things together to help make really informed decisions about your trading. So you're not entering trades emotionally. You're doing it based on the data, based on the information you see. And then you're not managing your position emotionally. You're managing the position based on what you're seeing. So, of course, I wanted silver to crash through the floor on two contracts. You know, if silver would have dropped 30 or 40 cents, you know, my weekend would have been a lot better. As it was, I only got 8 cents out of it, 9 cents, something like that. But, you know, that doesn't matter. What matters is I was reading what was going on and managed to get out with a profit before that trade would have turned into a pretty decent little loss, right? So these little nuances can really help you out, and they're super important. And the only thing I can say to you is that knowing these things is a start, and then you really need to go back and start researching how the volume profile is looking and developing throughout the day according to your methodology. Look at it in whatever time frame. You know, if you trade 5-minute charts or 15-minute charts, whatever you use moving averages, MACD, all that stuff. I don't know. Go and look at all that with the developing volume profile, and it's going to give you some clues on how to maybe, you know, stay out of some of your subpar setups, how to recognize when maybe you took a setup, but it's not really working, kind of like I did on this one with silver. So you can really learn a lot by replaying these charts and looking at the point of control, how it's shifting, how's the value area shifting. So I'm going to leave this video right now at this. We've already been talking for, I don't know, 30 minutes or something. I think it's been a really good introduction to volume profile analysis. And I'm going to get into more advanced videos, you know, later when I have time. But I want to put this out there for you guys because I love volume profile. I've only spent, you know, like the last 6 months really familiarizing myself with it, but it's kind of revolutionizing the way that I'm seeing my own proprietary OMA technical analysis. It's just opening my eyes up to a whole new world of possibility, and my trading results are going through the roof as a result. And I want to share it with you guys because I wanted to help you out. When I was searching around on YouTube for volume profile information, there's not that much out there. So I want to try and put more out there about the volume profile. And again, you know, I'm going to be here at 8 a.m. on Monday, just doing my own trading. If you want to stop by, hang out, do some trading, or just, you know, learn from what I'm doing, then come check that out, because I really use all of my volume profile information when I'm, you know, trading for myself during the day. All right, take care, everybody. And, you know, I'm happy to put the content like this out there. If it's, you know, of value to you and it's helping, please subscribe, like the video. It helps to grow the channel. And it's obviously going to be more fun as we grow the channel and get a little bit of traction here heading into 2024. All right, take care. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.